All right, Week 17 grab bag, NFC playoff picture edition. Let's start with the Jets at the Seahawks. A little Geno Smith revenge on the Jets. A little Pete Carroll revenge on the Jets, who employed him as the head coach for all of 1 year back in 1994. Which quarterback needs to be more central to their team's success, Mike White or Geno Smith?
Wow. This is one where the spotlight's on both quarterbacks, and I know that it's like that, but there's some real scheme X's and O's stuff here where it is going to be important for both. I think if you're going to make me pick one, though, I'm going to pick Geno. I am. Just because, one, the Jets' defense is very good still, and I don't think the Seahawks can do what we saw Jacksonville do to them last week. So Geno, I think, is going to be under pressure. He's got to make sure he limits mistakes. They're not very good at pass protecting, and they're really not that great in the run game either. They just have a special running back who can make some cuts and some plays and get extra yards. They don't open up like real big holes to where you go, whoa, they're dominant there. And then the stress he was under, the duress he was under the last two games against the 49ers and the Chiefs, and damn, now he's got to deal with this pass rush. So he's going to have to find the balance and trying to make plays, protect himself, protect the football, and make it happen that way. And that's why I'll go with Geno in this one. Tough call, though, this one.
Yeah, and look, Geno Smith has other things riding on this as well. Both guys are due to be unrestricted free agents after the season. I feel like Mike White has done enough to get someone's attention.
Yeah.
I feel like Geno has kind of slipped after that great start. I mean, the whole team has slipped. It all started when they were literally slipping on the turf in Munich. They've lost 5 out of 6 games starting with that one. They've gone from 6-3 to 7-8. And it's just, can they hold on? Can they? And now they're at the point where they have to thrust themselves back into the conversation, just like the Jets. These are two teams that have collectively fallen off. Mike White can just say, I don't have anything to do with the past few weeks. I haven't played. So I think it is more on Geno to turn the Seahawks around. I think with Mike White, it's kind of a breath of fresh air. They're going to be happy to have him back.
Right.
Thrilled to move on from this Zach Wilson debacle and rally around Mike White again. Break out their Mike F. and White T-shirts and wear them on the plane to Seattle.
Hey, that's where it'll be interesting to see too. That's why I was like a little going back and forth because, one, the Jets, they can't run the ball, right? And the other thing is that the Seattle Seahawks pass defense is a pain in the butt. It's for real a pain in the butt. They're creative. They're well coached in the pass game. They have a good creative way to attack, your protections, blitz a guy, drop a guy, blitz, whatever. So they do some different things there to where that's where I got into Mike White. I mean, he's going to have a central part in this game this weekend because I don't imagine the Jets being able to just run the ball at will. So that's where it'll be fun. This is kind of under the radar, one of the better games of the weekend because of the things you explained, and then the quarterback matchup. And Robert Saleh, he came from Seattle. That's where he started his career. Now he's going back there to see the old regime and all that. So this one will be intense and hard hitting.
Minnesota Vikings 12-3 at the Green Bay Packers 7-8. They played way back in Week 1. It was the only game the Vikings won all year by more than one score. 11-0 in one-score games. The Packers will be in good shape against Minnesota as they try to sneak into the postseason if they blank Justin Jefferson.
Keep him from going off, okay? Or if they keep Justin Jefferson from totally going off, or I don't know if I'm fitting that in there the right way. Contain him to a degree, okay? You're not going to contain him all the way. I understand that. If he has a game where it's like 150 yards, you're going to lose. The game, it's over. But if they can make it to where, hey, it's 60, 70 yards, I would go, ooh, they got a good chance here. That would be, my 2 cents. It's interesting, this one here. What's interesting about, can the Packers stop your Minnesota Vikings run game? I know you guys aren't great at running the ball, but the Packers stink at stopping the run. And that's where I also think, oh, man, that could be trouble. Because we know Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook get going, then everything starts to get going. And that's where I do find this matchup interesting because I think both offenses have the advantage over the opposing defenses.
And the Vikings have done fairly well for themselves in recent years in Green Bay. Didn't go well last year, but they had that tie
right,
in Kirk Cousins' first year with the team. Yeah, an exciting game that went all the way down to the end. Missed field goals, kept the Vikings from winning. They have confidence there. They play with confidence. During the year of the pandemic, when there were no fans in the stands, you had Vikings jumping up, doing the Lambeau leap with no one else around. I mean, they will go there and they will be able to play their brand of football. The weather shouldn't be a factor. But Justin Jefferson is such a critical component of the offense. I see more and more people talking about him as an MVP candidate. I think it's going to be tough for him to pull it off. But he is on track to break the single-season receiving yardage record. And I know there's 17 games now, not 16, but he's still on track to beat it. At some point, someone is going to beat it. Cooper Kupp made a run at it last year. Jefferson may very well do it this year. Make it 2,000 this year.
Yeah.
It becomes hard not to vote for him for MVP if he gets to 2,000. And if the Vikings, look, they're trying to nail down the 2 seed, which is not going to be easy with the 49ers hot on their heels. And they still have a slim window for the 1 seed. If the Eagles can't get right against the Saints,
right.
If the Eagles end up losing to the Giants, the Vikings could still take the 1 seed away from the Eagles. So the point is, this isn't some throwaway game for a team that's clinched its playoff spot. They still got plenty to play for. And Justin Jefferson playing for history, playing for the record, and playing for maybe some MVP consideration.
Yeah, agreed. It's a fascinating team, your Vikings. It really is. It's still a story and a team that I've never seen a team be less impressive, but be 12-3 and pull out these games. And there is something to be said about that. But it is one of those where every week you scratch your head and go, wait, I don't know exactly how they won that game. You know, it seems like they were outplayed, but they won. They just got, the magic touch this year, that's for sure. And Justin Jefferson is by far the MVP of that football team. And that's where it's interesting this year. I think we have a few teams where you go like, the teams that are good, the Vikings, the Dolphins. I would even throw the Eagles in there to go. The most valuable player on those teams are 3 receivers, and those are playoff caliber football teams, and you don't always see that. It's kind of different.
And, I was explaining this to my son the other day because he was too young to fully appreciate Randy Moss. Randy Moss was the most explosive, dynamic receiver I've ever seen in my life, insofar as he would get down the field, you would throw the ball, and he would go get it.
Yeah.
But Justin Jefferson is more like Jerry Rice.
Yeah,
he just
does
everything.
Right.
And you can count on him.
Yep.
Anywhere, any place.
Right.
Just like the game the other day, right? It's going to overtime. Kirk Cousins throws a little pass to Jefferson, and he wills his way into field goal range.
Yep.
Now, 61 yards is hardly a gimme, but without that play,
no chance.
They're going to overtime, and who knows what's going to happen. I mean,
right.
If we're looking at value, and it's still going to be hard to overcome Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, but we're looking at raw value that a player has to a team. When you can rely on that guy, I mean, think about the Bills game.
Yeah.
Cousins told him, I'm just going to throw it up to you. And he makes one of the greatest catches we will ever see in our lifetime. So, anyway, I'm not making the MVP case for Justin Jefferson now, but I was all over the possibility going into the season.
You were. You're correct
Sean
with
Payton,
what you said.
I saw Sean Payton on Fox. Sean Payton had a great line on Fox over the weekend. He said, we all root for our narratives. And isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
And that was one of my narratives going into the season, that he could be an MVP candidate, and he is. All right, Bears at Lions. Bears 3-12, Lions 7-8. What's more likely? Justin Fields rushes for 80 or more yards, or Jared Goff throws for 300-plus yards?
Ooh, those are both very likely. I could see both of those happening.
That's not the question.
I know.
More likely.
And so people, I think sometimes, I always get questions to people who are like, how come you don't, it takes you, why do you have to think about those? Don't they give you those before the show? And I'm like, no, we literally see them live just like everybody else. I'm trying to process it. Jared Goff throwing for 300 yards.
But we could see them in advance if we wanted to.
We could?
The information is available to us if we chose to avail ourselves of it. I think most of the time it's already plugged in. I don't know. I've never checked.
I never opened the
Apparently
sheets
not.
the night. Yeah, so, okay, there we go. I never opened the sheets the night before to where we have a rundown of our show. So you're right. Maybe it is there. I don't know. But I'm going to go with Jared Goff throws for 300-plus yards. I don't feel necessarily comfortable about that, but I do think that the Lions, with their rushing attack and the way they can run the ball, it's going to make Buffalo play some man-to-man and be in those situations to where I could see him.
Or Chicago.
I was thinking about the Bears in Buffalo last weekend. I could see Goff, taken advantage of some of those matchups. They're, like we've talked about, they're hard to match up with their receivers. They can go. So I'll go with Goff 300-plus yards, but I'm not totally comfortable in that.
What a year from Jared Goof to Jared Go Off.
What do you think?
He has had a great year, and he has turned around the perception that he was just a guy they were going to keep until they could get out from under his contract, that's why they got one of the first-round picks they got from the Rams. I think Fields is more likely to have 80 yards. Okay. I just think Fields, that's all they got. That's all they can do.
I know.
That's all they can do. At least the Lions do have a running game. All the Bears have is Justin Fields breaking one or two and backdoor cover. We're doing our picks podcast later, and I heard your voice in my head as I was looking at this game and recognizing the Lions are still playing for playoff possibility. The Bears are cooked, but with Justin Fields, there's always that opportunity to score that backdoor cover when he just does that, slips past someone, and he's gone. He's the most dangerous running quarterback right now in the NFL. All due respect to Patrick Mahomes, who is dangerous in a different kind of way because you never know when he's going to throw it while he's running around. But it's incredible what Justin Fields does running the ball, Chris.
Incredible. He's already in the conversation, maybe the most gifted quarterback we've ever seen running ever. I mean, it's insanity. It is. And, hey, Buffalo was about the first team we've seen last week that contained him. And of course, it's the one, I picked Buffalo to cover, but Justin Fields has burned me so many times picking the team to beat Chicago to cover that I didn't pick it, even though I said on the Picks podcast, it's like Buffalo have a plan, but, we've seen other teams have plans. Detroit does not have Buffalo's defense, and they don't have those two middle linebackers that can run like that. Buffalo had the right attack as far as the things you do to rush Justin Fields. Maybe Detroit can take that into their own game plan. We'll see. But I would expect him to have a few big runs in this one.
Browns at the Commanders.
Whoa.
Browns are done at 6-9. Commanders 7-7-1. All the Commanders have to do is win their last two games, and they are in, possibly by the skin of that tie that they had against the Giants. But that's where a tie becomes handy. You can slip in front of some other teams. Higher total for this one with Carson Wentz back under center. The number of times we say, holy crap, what a throw, or the number of times we say, holy crap, what the hell was that?
That sounds like a Matt Casey question right there about Carson Wentz, who is producing our show today. And it does. It's Matt Casey got in my ear. He says, it sounds like the screening room. Yeah, because it is. When Carson Wentz plays, we're always like, oh, what a play. And then 2 plays later, we're like, what the hell was he thinking? What is he, an idiot? That's a little bit what you get with him.
The left-handed pick six in his own end zone from last year is the epitome of Carson Wentz. Oh, my gosh.
Exactly
when
right.
He's falling down and he throws the ball up and the Colts player grabs it and walks in. Not the Colts player, the player whoever they were playing.
Was that the Titans that game? I know. The Titans, I think they got that with Matt Stafford in a crazy one, too, so I can't remember which one it is. But then he also had the shovel pass against the Jaguars, right? That got intercepted or maybe fumbled as he was trying to shovel it. He does some of that stuff. But I think this will be a game we say, holy crap, what a throw. All right? I hope he's smart enough to realize, hey, Cleveland's defense is not necessarily, some cupcake. They're still a pretty tough unit there. And then 2, I hope he realizes the big picture of the game, that Cleveland's offense is nothing special, that his Commanders' defense should be able to keep them in check. So I'm going to go with holy crap, what a throw.
Yeah, you know what? I think so, too. Look, I give some credit to Ron Rivera. He had a choice to make.
Yeah.
And it wasn't something that he made on his own. We talked about this yesterday. Surely he got the finger on the pulse of the locker room. But Carson Wentz is the guy they brought in to be the starter. The only reason Heineke had a chance to do what he did was because Wentz got injured. The last time we saw Wentz start a game, it was that game against the Bears, and they pull off the victory. And, there was a questionable non-call of pass interference, but that was when Rivera got a little huffy with the media afterward for constantly questioning Wentz, even though he was the one who was raising the questions. I think this is just a great opportunity for Wentz to come in and do some things and kind of rejuvenate his career. He's only been around 6-7 years. I mean, he entered the league the same year as Jared Goff. It would be fitting if Wentz does a little of what Goff has done this year and change some narratives and change some minds. So I'm with you. I think we're going to have more holy crap, what a throw moments, especially because even though the Browns are good on paper, I think they're clearly in playing out the string mode, business decision mode, just get to the offseason healthy mode. Panthers at the Bucs, a huge game in the NFC South. 6-9 Panthers, who already have a win over the Bucs this year. The Bucs a game ahead at 7-8. The Panthers can still win the division by winning out. Possible rhetorical question, what would happen if the Bucs tried playing the whole game in a no-huddle offense?
Yeah.
We see how good they are when they have to slip into no-huddle. And that question came up after the Saints game.
Yes.
Why don't you just do it the whole game?
Right.
You know, why don't they make the whole plane out of the black box material? I think that was an old Jerry Seinfeld line. I mean, why don't you just do the whole game in no huddle if it works so well?
Right. Yeah, and then just let Donovan Smith hold the whole game, and we'll just won't even pay attention. No problem. Yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. They're so good at the 2-minute drill. They hold every play, and he's picking them apart. But no, I think it is an interesting thought. It is, and we know how awesome he is in that situation, Tom Brady. The other thing it does when you go no huddle usually simplifies defenses to a degree. They don't want to call crazy, intricate blitzes or coverages because you don't have enough time to maybe communicate it and do all that. So you start to get into some, simpler coverages. So there are some advantages there, but I think there's also the thought of this too, that they're doing that. We've seen that in 2 games, but it's the end of the football game versus defenses that are not very good and they're kind of worn out too. You're not necessarily going to see that same energy. And where you got to be careful is you go no huddle and all of a sudden you're off the field in 3 plays and you ran 10 seconds off the clock.
Right. You're wearing out your own defense.
Exactly. Now the defense is on, and then you go, hey, let's go no huddle again. And all of a sudden you go 3 and out again, and you're going, oh crap, we've had the ball for 20 seconds so far today, and the other team's had 2 6-minute drives, and now we haven't gotten rhythm in offense, and our defense is exhausted. So I don't think Todd Bowles, the defensive coach, would go that route. But it is an interesting thought because it's a struggling offense, and there's not a lot of avenues of success that we've seen from them this year.
I like the idea of having it always on the table.
Yeah, I hear you there.
Slipping into it when the moment is right. When
get a first down or 2,
this is where being
and then
an
maybe
experienced head coach comes into play.
Yeah.
All right, let's and that. Remember when Bill Belichick used to love to have the Swiss Army knife guys? They could line up in different spots, so you can keep going, and the other team can't substitute.
Right.
You catch them in
Aaron Hernandez,
a collection of 11 guys, where you can start slipping guys. Yeah, I was trying not to mention his name, but either of them really. But you can start moving guys around all over the place, and you exploit the matchup disadvantage that the other team is going to deal with. So I like that. I don't like doing it. Now, I think it would be foolish to do it all game. But I do like the idea of being ready to go at a given moment.
Yeah.
I like that. That adds an excitement, too, for the offensive players. You never know when we're going to slip into that mode, and you're always kind of on your toes and excited because it's got to be fun for them to just go into kind of fast break, no-huddle mode.
We see teams do that. The Eagles can be like that at times where they get a first down or 2, and then they start to go, okay, let's get up to the huddle and just stay at the line of scrimmage and keep the pace and the pressure on the defense and go that way. There is something to that for sure. Protection, Brady being a little jittery. I think that's maybe things that fall into their mind a little bit in that conversation, I would guess. But yeah, I hear you there. There is some value to have that at your access whenever you want it.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.